How does a camera tell a story? I do a lot of film analysis on this channel, but I don't dedicate much time to the actual study of film form itself. So today I've decided to look at a scene of confrontation from the excellent Dark Knight, to explore how film can uniquely describe its story through its camera. Hi guys, I'm Nick, and today I thought I'd do something a little different, so let's look through the lens at the Dark Knight. As soon as this scene starts, Nolan already starts to frame the idea of power. We sit behind the Joker, filming forwards from him, looking on Gordon, as he enters the Joker's world, giving the sense that the Joker is already more in control than he is. And as the camera zooms past the Joker and onto Gordon, we the audience are put under the impression that we too are being attacked by the criticism of the Joker, that we too are the corrupt society he speaks of. Here the Joker has the power as we zoom closer onto Gordon's face, showing his words are clearly having an effect on him. Now as the zoom continues, the framing of each character becomes more apparent. The Joker is framed in darkness, detached from any society or order, the frame not defining him by anything, whilst Gordon is framed in a cage of his own, just to reinforce how trapped and alone he is. Therefore, the Joker wins this confrontation, shown by how we now sit behind him as we watch the loser leave. However, this dynamic changes once Batman enters the scene. Now we see someone out of focus behind the Joker, sharing the same half of the screen, and Nolan showing them sharing the same world, both facing in the same direction, a direction directly opposite to Gordon. We are led to believe that Batman has the power here, the camera looking upwards on him and downwards on the Joker after a display of his physical prowess. But after this we switch to a shot from behind our antagonist. From this more observant angle we can gather that he is trying to read Batman and gain equal footing. Therefore, as the two begin to converse, Nolan will shoot them in close-up as equals. And now Nolan will mess with the idea of who's right and wrong. By having his camera spin left on the Joker and right on Batman, Nolan can show us the vast differences in their philosophies, showing that the two and their ideologies are the exact opposite of one another. But as Batman tries to liken the Joker to a petty criminal to give him a moral advantage, we cut to a shot from behind the clown, a shot almost like a mirror, as Nolan shows the Joker's words that in fact the two are just freaks to the world.
To them, you're just a freak. Like me.
Nolan here will also very subtly start to manipulate the technique called screen direction. For those of you who don't know, screen direction is usually used to maintain continuity in film, for which way a character is looking or which way a character is facing. But Nolan will harness it here instead to blur the idea of right and wrong. And Nolan will do this by using screen direction to mirror progression. The idea of progression, especially in European film, is shown through the screen direction as coming from left to right. As being a European audience, we already read from left to right and we measure time from left to right. Therefore, characters also follow this same rule. Characters that reside on the left are seen as going in the right direction, whilst characters on the right are seen as going backwards against progression, and can be antagonized for it. So let's see if our two characters follow this rule. Batman starts off slightly on the left, so we agree with him, and the Joker slightly on the right, so he's antagonized, going against the progression. However, when the camera twirl starts, Nolan messes with the screen direction, confusing us and twisting our sense of which is the right way and which is the wrong way. We're not sure who's right and who's wrong, purely through the camera. And as the spin becomes familiar, Nolan will twirl the camera in the other direction to confuse us even further, and show that the Joker's words are starting to affect this conversation. Batman's starting to understand his twisted ideology, and the Joker is starting to win this scene. Therefore now the power is with him. And once Batman loses control, this still camera will fly out the window and will go handheld. The situation now is wild and unpredictable. The editing will also back this up, getting faster and faster, giving us less room to breathe between its cuts. Even here, when Batman has his enemy pinned up against the wall, he has no control. But as he says he's considering breaking his one rule, we cut to this shot. The two at the same eye line looking at each other directly in the eye. They understand one another. Now the Joker will win this scene, dropping the bomb that he knows where Rachel is. And once Batman's lost complete control, we cut to this angle of the Joker twisting the scene into madness. And as the Joker is pushed to the ground, Nolan's angles continue to be just as smart. We remain close on the Joker, but Batman's hands can still be seen in the upper left corner of the screen. His fists, his physical strength, everything that he thinks gives him an advantage lies useless away from the focus. Thus we cut closer and closer and closer onto him until we reach the dramatic peak of the scene, where he realizes just what kind of a criminal he's dealing with. We now reach the climax of this confrontation, Batman pulling the Joker by his shirt, holding him in front of him. A normal reading here would dictate that Batman has the power, as he's above the Joker, but we know that he doesn't. It's such interesting and story-driven camera work because whilst the camera may look up at Batman, we know the Joker has all the power. The fact that Batman is shot from below has a massive strength advantage and has the Joker in captivity, but still has no power, is terrifying. Nolan's camera, like his antagonists, upsets what we know and twists what we expect to give us a different and darker meaning, simply through his lens. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it's the Dark Knight again, but I wanted a real good example to explain what I was saying. So I know this one's a little bit different, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. It was a hell of a lot of fun to edit, although it took ages. But regardless of that, thank you so much for watching again. Please do consider subscribing. These take a long time to make. This video was inspired by the excellent channel Every Frame a Painting, so if you want more of this kind of stuff, I definitely suggest checking his work out. And there's another channel called Now You See It, which also deals with a lot of cinematic techniques, so if you want more of that too, please go check him out. I'll leave their channel links in the description below. Anyway, thank you for watching so much. If you're still sticking around, go ahead, go do something else. That's me, Nick out.